Manga vs. Anime, Episode 2, Pokémon, Part 2, Manga. Okay, now let's talk about Pokémon manga. Now there are several Pokémon manga series out there. There's the Electric Tale of Pikachu, which is loosely based on the anime, but is still better than the anime. There's Magical Pokemon Journey, which is like mixing Sailor Moon with Pokemon and then making the Pokemon 10 times cuter than they actually are. Some of the Pokemon movies were actually turned into manga, which seems completely pointless to me. There was even a Pokemon Mystery Dungeon manga. And then after that, there were several Pokemon manga that were never even released in the States, and I have no idea what they're about. But I'm pretty sure they're all better than the anime. Well, anyway, you get the point now. There's lots of Pokemon manga out there, but in my eyes, as well as the eyes of Serebi.net, there's only one true Pokemon manga series. And that series is Pokemon Adventures, or known in Japan as Pokemon Special. The first few volumes of this series follow the adventures of the Pokemon trainers Red, Blue, and Green. Yes, you could say that Ash was the equivalent of Red and Gary was the equivalent of Blue, but Red and Blue are just so much cooler than Ash and Gary. Gary was an obnoxious snob, while Blue was just a serious, really powerful trainer. Ash was just an idiot, while Red is not an idiot. And Green was never in the anime, but she is such a cool character, and I would have rather had her than Misty. She finds lots of interesting ways to use her Pokemon. For example, she has her Jigglypuff inflate, and she floats on top of it like a balloon. She also has a Ditto that she hides in several different places on her body. So, for example, if all her Pokemon got stolen away, she could still have Ditto come out and help her. She's also kind of a thief, as she stole Squirtle in the very beginning of the story. But as we later learn, she's actually a good person and helps Blue and Red in their battle against Team Rocket. Also, unlike Ash, Red actually catches Pokemon! Is that allowed? Could it be that he's actually following the gotta catch 'em all formula? No! When Red goes to the Safari Zone, he actually catches a whole bunch of different kinds of Pokemon. I mean, look at this shot. This is every Pokemon he catches. Okay, now let's look at what Ash catches. Now what Red catches. Now what Ash catches. Now what Red catches. You see the difference? Red, good trainer. Ash, lousy trainer. There you go. I have a lot more to say about the Pokemon manga than I did the anime. So let's move on to one of the most important points. How accurate the plot of the manga is to the Pokemon video games. Pokemon Adventures isn't missing any single important plot point from the Pokemon video games. It has everything. Bill being turned into a Pokemon, Team Rocket taking over the Pokemon Tower in Lavender City, the Game Corner being used as a secret Team Rocket base, and the fact that Red has to take it out. And lastly, the most important point, the invasion of Saffron City and Silphco by Team Rocket. It was about this time when I was reading through Pokemon Adventures that I realized Pokemon Adventures is awesome. For them to keep the plot at Saffron City, it just shows how important the games are to the creator of the manga. Actually, I can recall reading the author notes and reading that he actually does play the video games rather often. I'm pretty sure the creators of the anime don't. In fact, I wonder if they've ever touched a video game in their entire lives. I highly doubt it. But the manga is accurate to the games in more than just the plot. It's also accurate in other aspects as well. Like the fact that, for fans, they actually use the sprites from the game in the Pokédex information. I mean, that's pretty cool. Heck, they even throw the map from the games in there. Now that's really going the extra mile. And the manga also takes Pokédex information into account, which is something that the anime rarely ever did. For example, the Pokemon Silver Pokédex information says that if Hitmonlee starts kicking repeatedly, both legs will stretch even longer to strike fleeing foes. As can be seen in this shot here, the manga actually used this concept, and I have to say it's pretty cool. I wish we could see Hitmonlee doing this in Pokemon Stadium or something. The Pokemon Yellow version Pokédex says that the belt around Machoke's waist holds back its energy. Without it, this Pokemon would be unstoppable. I believe in one of the battles Red had against Surge in the manga, his Machoke actually removed its belt and became practically unstoppable. Pokemon Adventures is extremely faithful to the Pokemon video games. But that's not the only way in which it improves over the Pokemon anime. There are also a few rather risque scenes. For one, look at this scene which happened in the Pokemon Tower. Blue's Charmeleon just cut Arbok's head off. You would never see this in the Pokemon anime. Now that is awesome. There's juices lying on the floor, for Pete's sakes. I mean, don't worry, Arbok's head grows back, but once again, that's taking advantage of Pokedex information. This is something the anime can never do. There's one other scene in which Green is fighting Sabrina in Silphco. And at one point during the battle, Sabrina immobilizes Green, and Kadabra cuts Green's shirt off. What the heck? Are we about to see a nude shot in a Pokemon manga? Well, guess again. It turns out that Green doesn't have boobs. She has Pokeboobs. Or should I say Pokeballs? It was all a trap. Man, that's risque. That's just crazy. If that kind of thing appeared in the Pokemon anime, it would be banned faster than you can say. The fellas at the freaking FCC. About the villains in Pokemon Adventures. This is where it kind of gets a little weird. Because there are certain characters from the games who are villains who were never villains before. Originally, Giovanni was the only evil gym leader, but now he's accompanied by Lieutenant Surge, Sabrina, and Koga, who have all become evil members of Team Rocket. Now, some people might say this is ridiculous, and these characters would never do evil things. But, I don't know, I think it's possible. Lieutenant Surge was a war veteran. He might enjoy a violent, evil life. I'm not saying war veterans are evil, I'm just saying, might want something more out of life. Koga's a ninja, so he could get hired by anyone, including evil people. And Sabrina is the psychic. I don't know how she turned out evil, but she turned out kind of messed up in the anime, so whatever. But still, when it comes right down to it, the best villain in Pokemon is still Giovanni. And this manga actually does him justice. Red and Giovanni have an epic battle, which technically counts as a gym battle, but they go all over the place. It gets very violent. And Giovanni says that if Red loses, he'll have to become a member of Team Rocket. This is just so epic. How could the anime just completely forget about this confrontation altogether?